Tom was alone in his small scout ship, flying through a dark part of the galaxy. The stars around him were cold and silent. He had followed a weak distress signal coming from a green planet below. His computer showed that no human had ever landed there before. The planet was not on any map. That made it more interesting. As he entered the atmosphere, his ship began to shake. Lightning flashed across the sky. The engine gave a loud bang. Smoke filled the cabin. Tom tried to keep control, but the ship dropped fast. Trees rushed up toward him. With a hard crash, the ship hit the jungle floor and slid through thick vines and mud. Tom opened the hatch and stepped outside. The air was warm and heavy. Strange birds flew overhead. The trees had glowing leaves. The ground was full of red flowers and tiny crawling creatures. His legs were sore, but he was safe. He looked around, then started walking toward the direction of the signal. After a short walk, he heard footsteps behind him. He turned fast. Spears pointed at his face. Tall, armored figures stood around him. Their skin was smooth and silver. Their eyes were gold and sharp like a hawk's. They were not robots. They were the Zarathi, an alien race that had stayed hidden for centuries. One of the guards stepped forward and said something in their own language. Tom raised his hands. "I'm not here to fight," he said, but they could not understand him. They tied his hands and took him through the jungle. He did not fight back. He only watched and listened. The guards moved like silent hunters. They were strong and proud. After a long walk, they reached a city made of stone towers and hanging bridges. Waterfalls flowed from the rocks. Flying beasts circled the sky. At the highest tower was a throne made of black stone and shining crystals. On that throne sat the queen of the Zarathi. She was tall and wore armor made of gold and bone. A long blue cloak flowed behind her. Her face was calm, but her eyes burned like fire. She stood up as the guards pushed Tom forward. He looked at her and said, "I'm not your enemy. I followed a signal. Someone asked for help." The queen's voice was loud and sharp. "Why don't you leave me alone, human?" she shouted. "You were not called. You are not welcome here." Tom stood still. He did not flinch. "I only came because I thought someone needed help." The queen narrowed her eyes. "Lies. Your kind always brings war. You came to spy, or to steal. You all pretend to help, but you bring ruin." Tom looked around the hall. The guards held their weapons tight. The queen stepped down from her throne. She walked around him, watching him closely. "You are the first human to ever stand here," she said, "and you may be the last." Tom spoke calmly. "Then ask me anything. I have nothing to hide." The queen paused. She waved her hand, and the guards pulled him to a small stone room with no windows. They shut the door. Tom was alone again, but this time in a cage. He sat down and thought about the signal. It was still active. It had not been a trap. Someone out there needed help. He had to find out the truth. Hours passed. The door opened. A young guard brought food and water. She looked at Tom with curious eyes. "You speak soft," she said, "not like stories." Tom smiled. "Stories are not always true." She said nothing and left. The next day, the queen came again. She asked him about Earth, about humans, about space travel. Tom answered every question with honesty. He did not try to impress her. He only told her facts. The queen asked, "Why did you come alone?" "I was close," Tom said. "I saw the signal. I followed it." "You trust too easily," she said. "I believe in helping," Tom replied. The queen said nothing more and left. Each day she came with new questions. Each time Tom stayed calm. He also asked her about her people. At first, she ignored his questions. But slowly she gave small answers. Tom learned that the Zarathi had once ruled many systems, but had chosen to hide after a long war with another alien race. They had sealed their planet and banned outsiders. Any stranger was treated as a threat, but Tom did not act like a threat. He fixed broken tools. He helped the guards understand human tech. He cleaned his cell without being told. He taught one of the guards to speak a few English words. Slowly, some Zarathi began to see him as more than a prisoner, but not the Queen. She still did not trust him. She still believed he had a secret reason for being there, and she still wanted him gone. Then one night, the signal got stronger. Tom watched the device in his cell flash with new energy. Someone was calling again. The message was not in human language. It was Zarathi. Tom whispered to himself, so the signal didn't come from Earth. Now he had a clue, and maybe a way to prove that he was not lying. Tom sat in the stone room, watching the small device blink slowly. The light showed that the strange signal was still active. It was not from Earth. It was in the language of the Zarathi. That meant someone from their own people had sent it. But why had no one noticed it before? He tried to remember where he first heard the signal. It came from the south, far from the city, near the edge of the jungle. But he had no map, no tools, and he was still a prisoner. That morning, the guard came again. It was the same young one who had spoken to him before. Her name was Rika. She brought food and water without saying much. Tom looked at her and said kindly, "Can you help me send a message to your queen?" She paused. "What message?" "Tell her the signal is Zarathi. I think one of your own people is still out there." Rika looked unsure. She nodded once and left. A few hours later, the doors opened. Guards entered and took Tom to the main hall again. The queen was waiting on her throne, her arms crossed, her eyes sharp. "You speak of a signal," she said. "Explain," Tom held out the blinking device. "This is what brought me here. I followed it. It is not human. It's in your language." The queen stepped down and took the device. She pressed a few buttons. A soft voice came from it. It was weak and broken, but it spoke in Zarathi words. The room went silent. "That voice," one of the older guards whispered. "It sounds like Lord Saren." The queen's eyes widened for a second. Then her face turned cold again. "That name means nothing now," she said. "He vanished many years ago. He broke our laws and flew into the wildlands. He is gone." "But the signal is still active," Tom said. "Maybe he's still alive, or maybe he found something important." The queen turned away. "It does not matter. He chose exile. We do not speak of him anymore." Tom stepped forward. "I can find him. I can help. You know I speak the truth. You've watched me. I didn't come to harm anyone." The queen spun around, her voice rising. "Why don't you leave me alone, human?" she yelled. "You talk of peace, of help, but you bring noise and questions. You dig into things that must stay buried." Tom stood calmly. "I'm not your enemy. You don't have to trust me. Just let me go. I'll find the source of the signal and bring back proof." The guards moved closer. Tension filled the hall, but the queen raised her hand to stop them. "You will not go alone," she said. "If you lie, my soldier will end your journey quickly. Do you accept this?" Tom nodded. "I accept." The next day, he was given simple gear and allowed out of the city under guard. Rika was chosen to go with him, along with 2 strong warriors. The queen watched them leave from her tower. She said nothing, but her eyes followed Tom until he vanished into the trees. The jungle was dense and full of life. Strange birds flew between tall trees. Bright flowers glowed in the shade. Sounds of beasts echoed from deep caves. The group moved slowly. Tom followed the direction of the signal, using the blinking light to guide the way. At first, the guard said nothing too. Him. They walked in silence, eyes scanning for danger. Only Rika spoke once in a while. "You don't look like a fighter," she said. "I'm not," Tom replied. "But I can survive, and I can fix machines." They stopped near a river for rest. Tom helped gather wood and made a fire. The guards watched him closely. One of them, named Torin, asked him, "Why do you care about a lost Zarathi?" Tom looked at the stars above. "I don't care about just one person. I care about the truth. I was trained to follow signals, to help where help is needed. That's all I want to do." Torin said nothing more. As they traveled, the signal grew stronger. After 2 days, they reached a rocky hill. The blinking device now shone brighter. Tom pointed toward a narrow path. "It's coming from that cave," he said. The group moved carefully. Inside the cave, the air was cold and still. Strange metal pieces lay on the ground. They were old, covered in dust and vines. In the middle of the cave was a broken chair, and beside it a small power core that glowed faintly. Rika stepped forward and picked up a badge. Her hand shook. "This belonged to Lord Saren," she said softly. Torin checked the core. "The signal is coming from here. He set it up before he vanished." Tom looked around. There's no body, no sign of him. Maybe he moved on. Or maybe someone took him. They searched the cave. In one corner, they found a damaged tablet. Tom turned it on with a small tool from his pack. A message played. It was Lord Saren's voice. "I found something. Deep under the hills. Old ruins. Strange power. I fear it is not from our world. If I fail, let the Queen know. Do not let this fall into the wrong hands." The message ended. The room was silent. Tom looked at the guards. "He found something important, maybe dangerous. You need to tell your queen." Rika nodded. "We will return at once." As they left the cave, Tom felt a strange feeling in his chest. He had come to help. Now he was part of something much bigger. Behind him, deep under the cave, something pulsed slowly in the earth. The group returned to the city just before sunset. The skies above the jungle were red, and the wind carried a strange stillness. Tom walked beside Rika, holding the damaged tablet in his bag. The guards stayed alert, their hands near their weapons. When they reached the gates, the soldiers at the wall looked down with surprise. It was rare for a team to return so quickly from the wild lands. Word spread fast that the human had found something. The queen waited in the throne hall. Her golden eyes were calm, but Tom saw the tension in her shoulders. As they stepped forward, Rika dropped to one knee and placed the badge of Lord Saren before her. "We found his signal," Rika said. "It was real. He was there." The queen stared at the badge. Her hand tightened on the armrest of her throne. Torin stepped up next. "There was no body, but we found a tablet. It holds a message. Saren warned about something hidden under the hills. A strange power." Tom reached into his bag and handed over the tablet. The queen took it slowly. She pressed the button and Saren's voice played again. Every guard in the room stood still as the words echoed through the hall. When the message ended, the queen sat in silence. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes looked darker. "You were right, human," she said at last. "The signal was real. My cousin did find something, and now it may be a threat to us all." Tom nodded. "I want to help. Let me go back and find out what lies beneath those hills." The queen stood up. "You will not go alone. This time I will go with you." The room went silent. The guards looked at each other. It had been many years since the queen had left the city. Her life was full of duties, and she never joined missions. But this was different. Saren was not just a cousin. He had once been her closest friend. The next morning, the team prepared to leave. This time, there were more guards. Supplies were packed onto strong beasts. The queen wore light armor and carried a silver blade at her side. Her presence made the group move faster and more carefully. They reached the cave again on the second day. The queen entered first, her footsteps slow and steady. She touched the walls and looked at the broken pieces left behind by Saren. "He was here," she whispered. "He stayed here for days. Maybe weeks." Tom walked beside her. "The signal came from the power core, but the real secret is underground. He said he found ruins." Torin pointed toward a dark path at the back of the cave. "There's a tunnel here. We didn't explore it before." The queen gave the order, and the group moved into the tunnel. It was narrow at first, then opened into a deep chamber. The air felt heavy. The walls were made of smooth, black stone, not like anything found on the surface. Lights from their gear showed strange symbols on the ground. Some glowed faintly. In the center of the chamber was a circle made of silver lines and a dark crystal floating above it. Tom stepped closer. The crystal pulsed once with a soft hum. The queen raised her hand. "Do not touch it," she warned. He stopped. "It's reacting to us. It's not Zarathi tech. Maybe not even from this galaxy." The queen stared at the crystal. "This is what Saren feared. He must have studied it. But he never told anyone." Torin examined the walls. "These symbols are old, maybe older than any record we have." Suddenly, a soft tremor shook the ground. Dust fell from above. The crystal glowed brighter. The queen stepped back. "It feels alive," she said. Tom turned to her. "This may be a weapon or a machine, but it's dangerous. We need to seal this place before someone else finds it." The queen looked at him. "That's why Saren sent the signal. He knew he couldn't hide it forever." "He wanted me to choose what to do with it." Tom nodded. "You are the only one who can decide. But if this falls into the wrong hands, it could destroy more than just this planet." Another tremor shook the cave. The group moved out fast. Back. At the entrance, the queen gave the order to block the tunnel. Her guards used tools and stones to seal the path. As they stood outside the cave, the queen turned to Tom. "You were right," she said, "but I still don't trust you fully. You carry no weapon, yet you cause change everywhere you walk. Why are you really here?" Tom looked up at the sky. "Maybe I'm here to remind people that help can still come from strangers. That trust is still possible." The queen did not speak for a long time. Then she said, "You are strange, human. I yelled at you to leave. I thought you brought danger. But now I wonder if danger was already here, hidden under our feet." They returned to the city in silence. The queen kept the tablet and gave orders that no one would enter the wild hills without her permission. She also ordered the study of the strange symbols to begin. Tom was given a new room, not a cell, but a guest chamber in the East Tower. It had a bed, clean water, and a view of the forest. At night, he sat by the window looking at the stars. Somewhere out there, others were sending signals too, but this time someone had listened. The morning sky over the Zarathi city was gray and heavy. Rain fell lightly over the towers as Queen Virella stood on the balcony of her chamber. Her golden eyes watched the horizon, where the wild hills rose far beyond the trees. She held the broken badge of Lord Saren in her hand. The message he left still echoed in her mind. Behind her, the sound of boots on stone made her turn. It was Rika. "The human is ready," Rika said. "He has asked to return to the ruins." The queen gave a short nod. "Prepare the team. I will go again." Rika looked surprised. "Your Majesty, it is not safe. Let me go in your place." "No," the queen said. "Saren was my blood. I must see what lies beyond the ruins myself. Later that day, the group set out once more. This time, the queen brought her best warriors, along with Tom and Rika. The sky stayed dark as they entered the jungle. Strange animals watched from the trees. The air felt thicker than before. Something was different. Tom walked beside Rika, his eyes scanning the blinking signal device. The core is not the only source, he said. There's something deeper, something larger. Rika looked at him. Do you think it's another weapon? I don't know, Tom answered. But whatever it is, it's waking up. They moved through thick vines and muddy paths. The beasts in the jungle were restless. Loud cries echoed through the trees. Once, a giant lizard crossed their path, its eyes glowing blue. The queen raised her blade, but the creature turned and vanished into the forest. We must keep moving, the queen said. There is danger all around. On the second night, they set up camp near a cliff. Tom checked the device again. The signal was strong now, pointing toward a mountain range just beyond the wild hills. Torin, one of the senior warriors, sat by the fire sharpening his blade. We do not go there, he said. That land is cursed. Even our maps end at its edge. The queen looked at him. Then we will go without a map. Saren went there. So will I. Tom sat quietly, thinking about her words. She had changed since they first met. She was still proud and strong, but now she listened more. She no longer saw him only as a prisoner. That night, the wind blew harder. Trees creaked, shadows moved around the camp. Tom could not sleep. He walked to the edge of the cliff and looked down. Far below, he saw lights flickering in the jungle. He called Rika. Look at that! Do you see it? Rika came beside him. Those are not fireflies. They move too slowly. The queen joined them. Her face grew serious. Those are scout lights. Someone is watching us. Torin stood up. Could it be the wild tribes? No, said the queen. They would not come this close. This is something else. They moved camp before dawn and headed toward the mountain. The path grew narrow and steep. Rocks crumbled under their feet. Strange carvings appeared on the cliffs, symbols like the ones found near the floating crystal. This place was touched by something ancient, the queen said. Tom nodded. Whatever it was, it came long before the Scifi, maybe before humans even left Earth. At last, they reached a large stone gate hidden between two cliffs. It was covered in moss but still stood strong. A circle was carved in the center, matching the shape of the dark crystal. Tom stepped forward. This is it. The source is inside. The queen placed her hand on the stone. It felt warm. The gate opened with a slow rumble, revealing a large cavern lit by soft green light. Inside, walls of black metal rose high into the dark. Floating objects moved through the air, humming softly. They entered slowly, their steps echoing. In the middle of the room stood a tall figure made of armor and light. It was not alive, but it turned toward them as if it could see. It's a guardian, Tom said. A machine built to protect this place. The queen drew her sword. If it attacks, we fight together. The guardian raised a hand, but instead of attacking, it spoke. The voice was deep and echoed through the chamber. The words were not in any known language, but somehow Tom understood. You are not the first to come. The one before you carried royal blood. He saw the truth and chose silence. The queen stepped forward. I am Queen Virella. I am his blood. What truth did he see? The truth of the ancient war, the guardian said. The weapon hidden below can burn stars. He chose to hide it. Will you do the same? Tom looked at her. This is what Saren feared. It's a weapon that can destroy planets. The queen lowered her blade. Then it must never leave this place. Suddenly, a blast rocked the chamber. The wall behind them exploded. Figures rushed in, wearing dark armor and carrying strange rifles. They were not Zarathi. They were outsiders. Torin shouted, "Protect the Queen!" The warriors formed a shield wall. Tom pulled Rika behind cover. The Guardian turned and raised both arms. Light shot from its hands, hitting two of the attackers. More kept coming. Tom looked at the Queen. "We have to shut it all down. The weapon, the signal, everything." She nodded. "Go. I will hold them." Tom ran toward a control panel near the wall. He used the same tool he used on the tablet and hacked into the system. Lights flashed. The floor shook. The Guardian spoke again. "Final command received. Lockdown begins. The walls closed. Doors sealed. The attackers were trapped outside. Inside, silence returned." Tom fell to his knees. The Queen helped him up. "You saved us," she said. "No," Tom replied. "We saved each other." The chamber was quiet again. Dust floated in the air. The walls had sealed shut. The attackers were trapped outside. Inside, only the Queen, Tom, Rika, Torin, and a few guards remained. The Guardian stood still in the center, like a statue made of light and metal. Tom stood near the control panel, breathing hard. His fingers were shaking. He had never seen anything like this. Not on Earth, not in any of the human colonies. Queen. Virella walked to the center of the chamber. She looked at the floating machines and the symbols glowing on the walls. She turned to the Guardian. "Show me the weapon," she said. The Guardian's eyes lit up. It raised its arm and pointed toward a large door at the far end of the room. The door opened slowly, revealing a deep tunnel that led underground. A cold wind blew from below. "Proceed with care," the Guardian said. "This power was never meant to be touched again." The Queen gave the order, and the group followed her into the tunnel. The stairs were long and steep. The deeper they went, the colder it became. Strange lights glowed on the walls, showing pictures of ancient battles, huge ships burning, worlds falling into dust, shadows fighting shadows. Tom stopped and looked at one of the images. "These are not just warnings. They are history. This weapon destroyed entire civilizations." The Queen nodded. "And now it rests under our feet." At the bottom of the tunnel, they reached a vast hall. In the center stood a tall structure, shaped like a black tower. Around it, machines hummed softly. Floating orbs moved in circles. The top of the tower had a crystal like the one from the cave, only much larger. It pulsed with slow, steady light. Rika stared at it. "This is the heart of it." Tom walked forward carefully. He checked the device on his wrist. "It's not active, but the energy inside is huge. If someone powers it fully, it could fire across stars." Torin stepped close. "Why build such a thing?" the Queen answered. "To win a war. A long time. Ago someone feared defeat so much, they built a weapon that could erase entire worlds." Tom looked at her. "Do you still think I came here to steal from you?" The Queen was silent for a moment. Then she said, "No, I think you came to stop what others will try to take." Suddenly, the ground shook again. A deep rumble came from above. The sealed doors had been attacked. A loud explosion followed. Dust fell from the ceiling. "They're trying to break in," Rika said. "The outsiders are still there." The Queen raised her hand. "They will come again, and next time they will bring more firepower." Tom looked at the tower. "We need to disable it completely. If they get to it, they won't think twice. They'll use it." The Queen walked to the control ring near the base of the weapon. She placed her hand on it. The lights turned red. The Guardian's voice echoed once more. "Are you ready to give the final command?" She paused. Her eyes were on the crystal. "Saren wanted me to decide. He could have destroyed this alone, but he waited. He believed I needed to see it with my own eyes. Tom stepped beside her. Now you've seen it, and you've seen what others would. Do for it. The Queen's voice was low but clear. This is not our power. It was never meant to be ours. She gave the command. The lights around the tower began to dim. The crystal at the top flashed, then slowly faded. A soft sound filled the hall, like a breath being released. The Guardian spoke again. The weapon has been shut down. The core is sealed. No one can use it again, but the danger was not over. Rika shouted, "Look!" A hole in the wall above had opened. The outsiders had broken through. Ropes dropped down. Shadows moved fast. The Queen drew her blade. "Form a line. We hold them here." Tom pulled a small tool from his belt and handed it to Rika. "Use this to seal the main controls. They must not touch them." Rika nodded and ran to the panel. Blaster fire filled the air. The Zarathi warriors fought bravely. The Queen led them, her blade shining in the dark. She moved like a storm, cutting through the enemy. Tom stayed near, the center, helping Rika. They worked fast, locking the system and setting traps that would melt the circuits if tampered with. One attacker broke through and charged at them. Tom grabbed a fallen weapon and fired once. The blast hit the ground near the enemy's feet, knocking him back. The Queen looked over her shoulder. She saw Tom standing there, holding the weapon with steady hands. She smiled. Just a little. At last, the fight ended. The attackers were gone. The chamber was quiet again. Torin had taken a wound to the shoulder, but he stood tall. Rika was tired, but smiling. The Queen walked to Tom. Her armor was scratched and her cloak was torn, but her eyes were calm. "You stood your ground," she said. "Not just today. From the moment you arrived," Tom looked around. "We saved more than this planet. We saved others who may never know what was buried here." The Queen nodded. "This place will be sealed forever. No one will enter again. I will make sure of it." They walked out of the chamber together, the door behind. Them closed with a heavy sound. The path was safe. For now. And for the first time, the Queen did not yell at the human. The sun rose slowly over the Zarathi city. Its light touched the golden towers and made the rivers sparkle. But the peace was fragile. The Queen sat in her private chamber, thinking deeply. Tom had healed from his small wounds. He moved freely, now, and helped the city's engineers repair the damage from the battle. His skills with machines amazed many Zarathi who had never seen human tools before. But the Queen knew the danger was not gone. The attackers would return, stronger and with more weapons. The buried weapon was a secret that could not stay hidden forever. Her advisors gathered in the throne hall. They argued loudly. Some said they should attack the outsiders first, find their homeworld, and destroy them before they came back. Others said to focus on defense and keep the city safe. The Queen listened, but her thoughts were elsewhere. She remembered Lord Saren's message and what Tom had shown her. Power like the weapon could destroy everything. It could not be used or shared. That evening she called Tom to her chambers. He entered quietly. The room was filled with soft light from glowing plants. The Queen looked at him with steady eyes. "You have changed my view," she said. "At first I saw you as a threat. Now I see you as a reminder." Tom nodded. "I did not come to fight. I only wanted to help." She smiled, faintly. "Help comes in many forms. You taught us that." They spoke for a long time. Tom told her about humans and their history. The Queen shared stories of the Zarathi past and the wars they had fought. Both learned new things. Then the Queen spoke of her choice. "The weapon must be destroyed," she said. "But it will take time and care. It cannot be done by force or anger." Tom asked, "How will you do it?" I will send trusted warriors to guard the ruins, she explained, and I will work with scholars to understand the power and find a way to end it safely. Tom smiled. That is wise. Days passed. The city grew quieter. The Queen's decision brought calm to the people. The Zarathi trusted her more, and many looked to Tom with respect. But one night, a messenger arrived with urgent news. Outsiders have attacked a nearby settlement, the guard said. They seek the weapon's secrets. The Queen's face hardened. We cannot let this happen again. She called a meeting and made a bold decision. We will send a team to protect the wildlands and stop any who try to take the weapon, she declared. Tom, you will lead the mission. Tom was surprised, but accepted. I will do my best. The next morning, the team prepared. They carried light weapons and tools. They traveled quietly through the jungle, watching the borders of the city. Along the way, Tom and Rika talked about their worlds. Rika said, "You are different from the humans I heard of. You are calm, patient." Tom laughed softly. "We are all different. I think you Zarathi are brave and proud." As they moved deeper into the wild lands, they found signs of the outsiders. Broken camps, discarded weapons, and strange markings. One night, the team spotted a group moving in the shadows. The outsiders were coming again. Tom whispered, "Prepare yourselves. We must protect the weapon." The battle was fierce but quick. The Zarathi fought with skill and courage. Tom helped guide the team, using his knowledge to outsmart the enemy. The end, the outsiders retreated, leaving behind their weapons and plans. The Queen's choice had saved the weapon from falling into the wrong hands. After the fight, Tom and Rika sat by the fire. She looked at him and said, "You have changed our world. Maybe we will not fear humans as much anymore." Tom smiled. "Maybe one day we will be friends." The Queen watched from a distance, proud and hopeful. She had made a choice not born from anger, but from wisdom. The human had stayed, and together they would protect the future. The sun shone bright over the Zarathi city. Birds flew in the blue sky. Flowers bloomed near the stone towers. The city felt alive and peaceful. The Queen stood on the balcony, watching the morning light touch the world. Beside her stood Tom, the human who had come as a stranger and stayed as a friend. Months had passed since the last battle. The weapon buried under the wild hills was now sealed. Scholars worked carefully to keep its power locked away. The Queen had kept her promise to protect her people and the galaxy. Tom had grown used to life here. He learned the Zarathi language well and taught them about Earth and humans. His calm spirit and kindness won many hearts. Some Zarathi smiled when they saw him walk through the markets or speak with children. One day, the Queen called Tom to her throne room. The guards opened the heavy doors. Inside, the room was filled with warm light. The Queen sat tall on her throne, her golden eyes calm but full of respect. "Tom," she said, "you came here as a stranger. You brought questions, and many of us were angry or afraid. But you stayed, helped, and changed us all." Tom bowed his head. "I only did what I was trained to do, help where I could." The Queen smiled. "You have done more than help. You have become part of our story. I want to offer you a place here by my side, as an advisor and friend." Tom was surprised. "Me? An advisor to a queen?" She nodded. "Yes. Your knowledge, your courage, and your heart are valuable. Will you accept?" Tom looked around the room. He saw faces of many Zarathi watching him. He felt welcome. He smiled and said, "Yes, I will stay." The Queen stood and walked to him. She held out her hand. "Welcome home, human." Life changed for Tom. He learned the ways of the Zarathi court. He shared ideas from Earth. Together they built new tools, improved their defenses, and opened doors for future peace. Some Zarathi still had questions about humans, but many more began to hope for friendship between their worlds. One evening, Tom walked outside the city walls with Rika. The stars shone bright in the clear sky. They talked quietly about their dreams. "I never thought a human and a Zarathi could be friends," Rika said. "But you showed me it is possible." Tom smiled. "Sometimes it takes just one person to change the story." Rika looked at the stars. "Do you think Earth will send others?" Tom nodded. "Maybe. But this time we will come as friends, not enemies." They sat in silence, watching the galaxy spin above them. The past was full of fear and war, but the future was full of hope. The Queen's voice echoed in Tom's mind. "Not anymore, human. You are welcome here." He smiled, knowing he had found a new home. A place where humans and Zarathi stood together, strong and united.